Hey guys, Program Made Easy here, and today we are going to be talking about chaining conditional statements together. We're going to be doing that using the else if keyword. We are going to be talking about logical operators, and we are going to be doing this by writing a simple program that says what kind of day it is and does that by a print statement to the console based on a user inputted temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. So we have a couple of constraints on this, right? So sunny, the day is classified if it's sunny, if the temperature is more than 70, pleasant if the temp is between 60 and 69, cloudy if the temp is between 50 and 59, and cold if the temp is 49 or colder. So if you remember in the last video, we learned about conditional statements, the if statement, right? So there has to be a Boolean expression here. If it's true, it evaluates this code block. And then if you choose to have an else statement, right? If the condition was evaluated to false, it would execute this code block. But remember, these are always optional. Now we're going to add one more condition to this, right? So we're going to add the else if keyword, right? And this also takes a Boolean expression. And we're going to make the code block for this. And this works the same way. So if the Boolean expression is true, execute code block. And basically, this is going to work and be helpful for us when we're writing our program because we need to check if this temperature is any of these conditions, right? We have many conditions we have to check, right? So we'll chain these conditions together with the else if, using else ifs. And so now with that being said, I think we can start writing our program. We're gonna have to mention about logical operators though in order to cover these conditions specifically, these two right here. Um, So let's first just create our scanner, and then when we get to those conditions, we'll talk about logical operators and what those are. Some of you might have already heard of them, like an AND statement or an OR statement, and if not, don't worry about it. We'll discuss everything about it. So we're gonna import the scanner really quick. I forgot to do that, and then we're gonna import that scanner. We're gonna create a new scanner object. We're gonna call it user input. It's going to equal a new scanner with system.in. And then we are going to prompt the user for the temperature, right? So say, what is the temp in F? I'm just going to use F for Fahrenheit. We're going to put a question mark. And then we're going to say temp. It's going to be an integer, and it's going to equal user input dot next int, right? Because we're expecting an int. And then we can get into crafting our first condition, right? So the first one is it's sunny if it's more than 70. So if you remember from the last video when we were learning about relational operators, we can use that greater than, right? Because we're going to be if it's more than 70. So cool. So I think if it's 70 or more is a way I want to phrase it, because I want it to be inclusive of 70, right? So we're going to say 70, or if temperature is greater than or equal to 70, then we're going to execute this code block, right? And what we want to tell the console, what we want to print out to the console is that today is a sunny day, right? So that takes care of that statement. And then we'll just write our next code block, right? Because we already know we're going to have multiple conditions. So we're just going to write our next condition here. And then here's where we're going to have to talk about logical operators. So we're going to talk about the AND operator here. Let me just do this. So AND, right? And basically that is denoted by these two AND symbols in Java. And basically, it needs to be in between two Boolean expressions or Boolean values. So you have, right, it works the same way with operators, any type of operator. You have two operands. So in this case, you have a Boolean operands, and then the logical operator in the middle. So the AND statement, you need both Boolean expressions on both sides of the operator to be true in order for the code block to execute. So basically, it'll look like this in our diagram. Boolean expression and Boolean expression, right? Because you have to have two. And if both Boolean expressions is true, then the code block executes, right? And so that's the AND statement. Now, if one of these is true and this one isn't, then it's false. Or if this one is false and this one is true, it's still false. And so that brings us to our next logical operator, which is the OR operator, and that's denoted by these two lines. And so the OR operator it only needs one of these Boolean expressions to be true, right? So let's say if this one's true and this one's false, the block is still going to execute. This code block is still going to execute. And if this one is true and this one is false, this code block is still going to execute. So as long as one is true, it's going to execute. If both are true, it's still going to execute. If neither are true, it's not going to execute. Okay, so with that being said, now that we've covered the AND the OR logical operators, we can start crafting our pleasant, right? Because we need to say it has to be between 60 and 69. Okay, so else if it's going to be if the temp is greater than or equal to 60 and the temp is less than or equal to 69, right? Because that covers both of the conditions. Pleasant condition. I'm just going to label all these, just making comments so you guys can see this. So we're going to label this one, today is a pleasant day, right? So that takes care of the pleasant condition. So we have the next condition we have to do is the cloudy condition. So that's going to be another use of a logical operator, and we'll use the AND operator again. So cloudy if the temp is between 50 and 59. Okay, so cloudy condition goes here. It'll be another else if, because we need the Boolean expressions, and we need two of them, so we're going to use the logical operator. So if the temp is greater than or equal to 50, and the temp is less than or equal to 59, then we're going to say today is a cloudy day. And then we have our cold condition. Couldn't type for a second, sorry about that. And if it's 49 or colder. So actually, here we could write another else if and say if it's 49 or colder, but because of all of the things are inclusive values, we actually could just write an else here and it'll take care of that condition for us. So we'll just say that, and that actually saves, that makes it a little bit more efficient, very microscopic for a program like this, but it still is. It's that the compiler wouldn't have to check this condition, right? I mean, it would have to do less computation to evaluate this. So today is a cold day. Perfect. So now let's test this out and see how it works. So what is the temp in Fahrenheit? Let's say it's 53 today. It's a cloudy day, right? And that's exactly what we would think it is. Let's do some more. Let's say today is 69 degrees. So that's the last, so it's inclusive of this value, right? We're checking that it's inclusive of the values. Say it's 85 today. Sunny day, great. Let's say it's 42. It's a cold day. All right, so there we go, guys. That tests all of our conditions. Um, Shows the use of logical operators, chaining conditional statements together, and doing that using else ifs instead of making these all just if keywords. Because if we were doing that, that uh, takes longer for the computer to do. So it's good practice to be chaining them together unless you need them specifically to be checked every single computation. All right, guys, that'll be it for today's video. Thank you for listening. This was Programming Made Easy. Subscribe, like, leave a comment on the video to help me improve this channel, and see you in the next one.